So viewers, here we are back at Mr. Coleman's Rubbish Mechanic, and the Sunny has made it as we're transported up here on a low loader. Now it's the 30th of April today, so it's a bit later on than the last time we saw this car, and yeah, that's still a problem. But there is something else that's more of a problem, and I'm going to have to start the car to actually demonstrate this. So I've got an old automatic choke on this. It's got an old carb, so we just a little bit of pump because the engine's cold. Hopefully we'll start. Yeah. So the old sort of E16S engine that's in this car dates back originally, I think about 1980 these came out. They're the development of the A series engine, or not that A series engine, the Nissan Datsun A series engine. So we're just going to leave it to actually warm up a bit. Just put the window down. I don't like actually leaving cars with the ignition key in them and closing the door with window up. It just frightens me a bit. So we'll leave that. And in a few minutes' time, once it's warmed up, we'll actually see what the problem is with this. So far, so good. Sounds normal and everything. But in a few minutes' time, when we come back, I don't think it's going to sound like this. Moving the car. See, it does start and it does actually drive. So that's okay. But there is a reason why we got it transported down here. And actually, well, unfortunately, it's not quite what we thought it initially was. It's something else. And we'll get Mr. Coleman to explain what has happened in a second, and we'll just wait for this car to warm up so we can demonstrate it. Okay, so I've switched cameras, so we'll be having a word with Mr. Coleman in a second. This is the E16S engine. It's not the GA16, it's not the CA16, which are also used in this generation of Sunny. It's the E16S. Sometimes known as a triangle engine, you can see why it would be known as that. And if Mr. Coleman revs it a little bit, we'll hear the problem straight away. Yeah, that is the big end bearing. And this engine, unfortunately, is going to have to be removed from this car, and the block is going to have to be changed. The cylinder head actually fine, it's not a problem. Mr. Coleman's put some oil in it now, it didn't really have any in it, but the big end has gone, which means we're going to have to replace the engine. Oh no! Oh! When I was driving back in the video that you might have seen last week, this was happening. It happened first of all after about 5 minutes, a set of lights just outside Southampton. But yeah, the big end has actually gone. We think it might have been in this state for some time. The problem is that actually the people who were supposed to fix this, they did a really good job on the cylinder head. That's not a problem. The cylinder head absolutely fine. The block, the big end bearing has gone. And some of you will have driven cars with big end bearing failure before, and generally you'll know what has to happen. So we're going to need E16S engine. You can't, unfortunately, just throw a GA16 in this, which is the one that replaced the engine later in 1989. You can't put a CA16 in it because it would require a little bit too much work. So we need a like for like, really. We did find one of these that was a 1.3 automatic, but that's no good, really. You can't really do anything with that. It has to be a manual one. And sort of that's it really, which is a big shame. It's not quite what we were expecting. So you can drive it for very short periods, but eventually the engine will just destroy itself at the bottom end, which is not so good. Right, Mr. Coleman, what exactly has happened with this engine?
It's 3/4 blowed up, basically. I think it's been run low on oil. I don't think it's had the greatest of maintenance over the years. It runs nice, the car's tidy, but it appears something's been starved of oil at some point, and yeah, she's not knocking on heaven's door.
Yeah, I mean, we're not blaming Mr. Brisbane particularly for this. No, he's tried to look after it and taken it to places, but it's for garages that unfortunately said they were going to rebuild it, took months over the process, and didn't diagnose it properly.
Yep, exactly.
And it is a shame because he wanted this to be better, and at the moment it's not.
No, it's not. It's not. It's fixable, but it's not going to be fixable overnight. It's a shame, you know. I've glued engines up over the years myself, and it is what it is. But yeah, so we've got a bit of a project on our hands with this one.
Yeah, we've decided that we're not going to throw this car away because of the relatively low mileage on it, and the fact that they're so rare. And actually, this, in terms of condition, there are only one or two very small and superficial rust spots on it. One's around the aerial, there's a couple down near the rear arches, but that's it. Everything else is complete, everything works, apart from some of the speakers in the stereo. And that's it. Oh, she's not sounding good now, is she, sir? Yeah, that's what it's doing on my home. Yeah, we might have to turn that off in a second, sir, but there we go. So we've made some inquiries about what engines are out there. This is quite a rare engine now. If it was a GA16 one, and of course the facelift ones were, then it would be fine. Or a CA16, that's okay, but this one's not. Why Nissan decided they needed 3 different 1.6 engines in this car, I have no idea. Obviously the GA16 was a later one. But yeah, the lower power 1.6 is this one. And that's just the way that it is. So if you know anybody who's got one of these engines, we only actually need the bottom half of it. We don't need the cylinder head. That's fine. Then my email address was shown at the beginning of the video. We'll keep looking and see what we can find. I mean, you know, the car's got an MOT till February. It would going to need a service anyway, so that's sort of it. But it is a bit of a shame because it means I won't be going to any shows for a while until we can get the engine put in this car. Which is a lot easier than the Volvo C70. That's why that one eventually had to go as spares and repairs. This one doesn't, it just needs the engine replacing, which is just a shame, really. The oil filler cap is hilarious. You have to actually pull it off. You can't unscrew it, you just pull it off. There's not a lot of oil that was in there when Mr. Coleman found it. I should have actually looked at it a little bit, but at that stage I knew the engine was going to need some major work anyway. Mr. Coleman's put some oil in it. It's not dripping oil or anything like that, it's just consuming some. But that is a sad state of affairs, and that's just the way sometimes these things go. When these were a lot cheaper, like I think Mr. Coleman paid £38 for one in 2006, which wasn't too bad, but it had 19 owners. This one has not. They sometimes went on back on the track because they were so cheap. Obviously these days you wouldn't be racing anything like this, but when they did, sometimes these engines would suffer from oil starvation, and people who were racing them would overfill the engine just in case that happened, which it did. Otherwise you'd come to exactly the same problem that we've got here, which is the big end has gone.
Or a nice big window in the front of the block.
Yeah, exactly. But that's it, really, viewers. It's going to be having to stay here for a bit. Mr. Coleman will be, well, when we actually find something to put in it, then we'll put it in. But so far we have drawn a bit of blank.
So if anybody's got a complete engine or just the bottom end, ideal, either let Joseph know or get in contact with me, and we'll come pick it up.
Yeah, exactly. It would be nice to have the E16S, which is a 1.6. Yeah. We were offered a 1.3 automatic, right, but
it's got to have that engine in it.
It can't be the CA16 Bluebird engine. It can't be the GA16, which is the later version replaced this. It's got to be the E16S, which was it was a common engine back in the day. I mean, a 1.5 N12 Cherry engine would do. That would go in. We found a Cherry turbo engine, but it was £2,000. That would actually. It would fit straight in. It would be hilarious. It'd be absolutely hilarious. It's like over 100 horsepower, so it would fly, but like it's more than the car's actually worth. So
if I did fit that engine into this car, I'd make sure I'd used every single one of those 100 horsepower as well.
yeah, indeed. So that's it, really, Viz. So we'll, I suppose, have some update at some point when we've got some news. So we're actually going to demonstrate why we think it's number 2 cylinder that's a problem. It's very, very easy on this engine to isolate each cylinder by pulling out that lead there.
Remove the spark plug lead by taking a load off of each cylinder. Now I'm going to pull out number 1 and it will drop down and run on 3 cylinders. I'll then rev it, the engine will continue to rattle. If I take number 2 off and then rev the engine, the load is off of that cylinder. And that is how you can actually determine what, within reason, what cylinder is giving you the issue.
Yeah, this is the old-fashioned way of doing it. Okay.
That's why I've got some rubber gloves on, so I don't want to...
we shouldn't get electrocuted. Okay, take off number 1, sir. Okay, and then rev it up. Yeah.
So the rattle's still there.
So, number 1's back on.
Number 1 back on.
Number 2. That's really easy to take them off, isn't it? Easy.
Yeah, on.
Okay, number 2.
Gone.
Nothing. Just a normal sound of an E-Series engine.
And then, just for argument's sake, it's easy to get out. I'll pull off number 4.
Number 4. Oh, that's nasty. Ah, that's properly nasty. That's it, so it's definitely number 2.
Yep.
There we go. Thank you, sir. So, thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching. Thank you, Mr. Coleman, for all his work that he always does on the cars. Many of my cars over the last year in particular. And we shall see you again soon for, well, hopefully some better news. Only yes, the suspension's all very soft in there. Yep. It's nice and comfy.